So today we're going to continue on our lesson with Chapter 8, Section 3, Multiplying Binomials. We're on the in the textbook, we're on page 498. So on Friday, we covered the FOIL method. And as a reminder, FOIL is an acronym, and it stands for first for F, O for outer, I for inner, and L for last. So let's practice this example. We have C minus 10 times C minus 5. Now the way we do it is we're going to multiply the first terms together. So we're going to multiply C times C. C times C gives us C squared, because remember when we multiply variables together, when we have exponents, we add those exponents together. So this is 1 and this is 1. 1 plus 1 gives us 2. So C times C gives us C squared. Next comes O, so we do C times minus 5, so it's C times minus 5, and we get negative 5C. Then we have to deal with our inner, so we have negative 10 times C, so we have negative 10 times C is equal to negative 10C. And last, we do negative 10 times negative 5. Negative 10 times negative 5 gives us 50, and it's positive 50 because these two negatives cancel each other out. Now what we're going to do is, now it's totally up to you guys. I'm writing this out on the side just for demonstration purposes for you guys. Some of you are just able to go ahead and just put it directly into a horizontal algebra problem. That's completely okay. If you want to do this, up to you. Or if you want to just skip to putting it like this, completely up to you as well. So I just go ahead and rewrite this all like this, because now we got to combine our like terms. So now we have C squared minus 5C minus 10C plus 50. And as a reminder from Friday, I told you guys if there's no sign in front of the number, so like we have in front of C squared and 50, then it's understood to be positive. So the only way to write positive would be plus. And then since these have the minus signs in front, or the negative signs, they're going to be minus. So what we got to do next now is combine our like terms. And our like terms here are negative 5C and negative 10C. So negative 5 minus 10 gives us negative 15. So our final answer is C squared minus 15C plus 50. Now let's try this one. 2x plus 7 times 3x minus 4. First thing we got to do is we got to multiply 2x times 3x, and that gives us 6x squared. Next, we got to multiply 2x times negative 4. 2x times negative 4 gives us negative 8x. Next, we got to multiply our two inner numbers, and that is 7 times 3. 7 times 3x gives us 21x. And lastly, we got to multiply our numbers that are in the last spots. So 7 times negative 4. 7 times negative 4 gives us negative 28. Next, what I'm going to do is I take all of this and put it into this form over here. So we have 6x squared minus 8x plus 21x minus 28. The next thing we got to go do is combine our like terms. We can't combine 6x squared with anything because there's no x squared variable. The only thing we can combine here is this minus 8x and this plus 21x. So negative 8 plus 21 gives us positive 13. So our final answer is 6x squared plus 13x minus 28. So now what would happen if we wanted to multiply a trinomial with a binomial? Now these two here, these are both binomials, because bi means there's two. So if we're working with a trinomial now we're going to have one problem that's going to have three terms, and one problem one one part of the problem is going to be a binomial or two terms. So what we're going to basically be doing is multiplying 3 terms by 2 terms. So multiplying a trinomial and a binomial, if you're following along, we're in the textbook on page 501. So here, the first problem we have is in parentheses 3x squared plus x minus 5 times 2x minus 7. So as we can see, this 3x squared plus x minus 5, that's our trinomial, and our 2x minus 7, that's our binomial. So what we're going to end up having to do is distribute each of these terms in the first set of parentheses to everything in the second set of parentheses. So these problems are just basically all distribution problems, and then at the end we're going to combine our like terms. So let's practice. So we're going to distribute this 3x squared to each term in the second set of parentheses. So we're going to do 3x squared times 2x. So when we do 3x squared times 2x, we get 6x to the third. And it's to the third because remember we got to add the x squared and this 1 over here for this exponent. So 2 plus 1 gives us 3. So 3x squared times 2x gives us 6x squared, cubed, 6x to the third. Then we're going to distribute this 3x squared to this negative 7. So 3x squared times negative 7 gives us negative 21x squared. So now we've already distributed this 3x squared to each of these terms here. Next, now we got to worry about this plus x. So now we got to distribute this plus x to these 2x and the x to the minus 7. So x times 2x gives us 2x squared. Next, like I just said, we're going to do this x to the negative 7. X times negative 7 gives us negative 7x. Okay, so now we've distributed the x to every term in this parentheses. So lastly, we have to worry about this negative 5. So now what we're going to do is the same thing, distribute the negative 5 to each of these terms. So we have negative 5 times 2x. That gives us negative 10x. Then we're going to do negative 5 times negative 7. Negative 5 times negative 7 gives us 35. Remember, I told you I like to show all my work over here. You can always go right ahead and start doing it horizontally, completely up to you if you want to do this extra step here and then, or do all this and then take the extra step writing it out over here. You could do that, or you could just do it all at once, completely up to you. I kind of think I like doing it this way, so that way I see my work all worked out over here. So I'm just going to rewrite it. So we have 6x cubed minus 21x squared plus 2x squared minus 7x minus 10x plus 35. Okay, so we got this all written out now. This isn't our final answer because this isn't the most simplified form. Just like we did in the other problems when we were foiling, before we get to our final answer, we had to combine like terms. Same thing here, we got to combine like terms. So what are our like terms? We have a negative 21x squared and a positive 2x squared. So we're going to add them. So negative 21 plus 2 will give us 19x squared, and we'll rewrite that. And then our other like terms are negative 7x and minus 10x. So we're going to combine those two. So negative 21x squared plus 2x squared, we already solved it. We said we got negative 19x squared. And then negative 7x minus 10x is going to give us negative 17x. So our final answer here is 6x to the third minus 19x squared minus 17x plus 35. Now we could go ahead and box our answer. Let's try this one. We have 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 times x minus 3. So the first thing we got to do is, as a reminder, we're going to be distributing each of these terms to each of the terms inside that second set of parentheses. So first we're going to do 2x squared times x. 2x squared times x gives us 2x to the third. Then we're going to do 2x squared times negative 3. 2x squared times negative 3 gives us negative 6x squared. Okay, so now we've distributed this 2x squared to each of these terms here. And we're not going to be distributing it to any of these terms in this parenthesis because they're in a group together. We don't need to do it into the group that it's already in. It's going to be anything in other parentheses. So our next step, now we got to distribute this negative 3x. Now, here's a little hint. If there's a negative sign in front of it, that number, or a minus sign, that number is going to be negative. So when we're multiplying, make sure we're multiplying by negative. So we have negative 3x times x. Negative 3x times x gives us negative 3x squared. Then we're going to do negative 3x times negative 3. Negative 3x times negative 3 gives us 9x. Positive, why? Because negative times negative gives us positive. Next, we're going to distribute this positive 1. So we're going to do 1 times x. 1 times x gives us 1x. And then we're going to also distribute the 1 to the negative 3. So 1 times negative 3 gives us negative 3. Now we go to worry about combining our like terms. So we rewrote everything. So now we have 2x to the third minus 6x squared minus 3x squared plus 9x plus 1x minus 3. Now we got to worry about combining our like terms. So what are our like terms here? Well, we have negative 6x squared minus 3x squared. We could combine these two together. And then we also have plus 9x plus 1x. We're going to also combine those together. So now once we do that, we're left with negative 6x squared minus 3x squared. Negative 6 minus 3 gives us negative 9. Because they were both x squared, we just rewrite this x squared. And then positive 9x plus 1x. Since they're both x's, we're going to add the 9 plus 1. 9 plus 1 gives us 10. And since it was x, it's a 10x. So our final answer is 2x to the third minus 9x squared plus 10x minus 3. Let's try this one. So in the other two examples I gave you, you could see, we'll go back to the other one, that we have the trinomial in front and we're multiplying the trinomial by the binomial. So the group of 3 numbers comes first, and then it's the group of 2 numbers. We did that for this example, and then we did it for this example over here. But what happens now if we have the binomial in front and the trinomial after it? Can we still multiply them together? Yeah, now the only difference is, remember, multiplication is commutative. So if I really wanted the trinomial in front, all I would have to do is move all of this over onto this side. Same concept. I'm going to show you how we do that. Now we're going to be multiplying 2g plus 7 times 3g squared minus 5g plus 2. So the same concept. Now we're going to take this 2g and distribute it to each and every term inside that second group of parentheses. Same thing with the 7, each and every term. So first we're going to do 2g times 3g squared. 2g times 3g squared gives us 6g cubed. Then we're going to do 2g times negative 5g. 2g times negative 5g gives us negative 10g squared. And lastly, we're going to distribute this 2g to the 2. 2g times 2 gives us 4g. Now we're going to worry about distributing this positive 7 to each of these terms. Same thing. 7 times 3g squared gives us 21g squared. 7 times negative 5g gives us negative 35g. And 7 times 2 gives us 14. Okay, we got this all written out over here. Now we got to worry about combining our like terms. So I rewrite it for myself so it's easier to see. So I have 6g to the third minus 10g squared plus 4g plus 21g squared minus 35g plus 14. The nice thing that happens when the trinomial is in front is that your like terms are going to be right next to each other. When you have the binomial in front, your like terms don't sit next to each other. So now we kind of got to combine what we learned when we did adding and subtracting polynomials and apply it here. So now you have to look for your like terms and combine them. So we have a negative 10g squared over here. And what's the other like term that goes with it? Positive 21g squared. So in just a second it will show up. So we're going to combine our negative 10g squared plus our 21g squared. And then what's also our like terms? 4g and negative 35g. So we got to worry about combining those as well. So negative 10g squared plus 21g squared will give us 11g squared, and positive 4g minus 35g will give us negative 31g. So our final answer would be 6g to the third plus 11g squared minus 31g plus 14. What's important to also remember is that when we do these, they got to be in standard form. And what do we mean by standard form? The exponents go in decreasing order. So once again, here's our pet of the day. This is your classmate Kristen's dog. This is Pandora. Pandora is wearing some sunglasses and she's out laying in her backyard by her bamboo plant. And some daily reminders. I'm going to post your homework in Plus Portals and on Google Classroom. Your homework, you can upload it to Google Classroom or email it to me before the start of class. If I don't receive it before the start of class, it's considered late and you will not receive full credit. You're going to lose some points on that. As a reminder, guys, when you have any questions, please be sure that you're emailing me and I'll get back to you with an answer. If you have any other questions, be sure to let me know. You can privately message me in Google Classroom, send me an email, completely up to you. Have a good day, guys.